car show you may have heard of in Tulsa in about 20 days, Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's the 100th anniversary of Route 66. But you can only register to get in the car show, which they're trying to break a world record, and I'd like to be a part of that. You can only get in the car show if your car is pre-1996. Being that I didn't have a pre-96 car, I thought I'd buy one. Problem is, this one hasn't ran in about 5 or 6 years, and these cars don't like to sit. So I'm sure it'll all work out fine. Oh, nope. So here's where we're at. Whenever I went over to the guy's house, I heard it turn over, so it sounds like it has compression. I peeked in the valve cover, that looks clean on that side because we only have one on one side, but I'm sure this side looks exactly the same. I popped off the, radiator cap there. It still has some Dexcool in it, it's a little bit low, but the system's clean, which is what I care about for a first startup. And the pop-up headlights work. I don't know why that's relevant, but it gives me hope. So my plan right now, I just want to hear it fire off before I make any plans, before I buy any parts. I just want to hear it fire off. So I'm probably gonna, is there a MAP sensor on this thing? Huh. So ooh, can I do this? Actually, yeah, I'm gonna pop this thing off. And I'm gonna, maybe, I don't know what's happening. I'm gonna pop this thing off and squirt some fuel down it, and I'm gonna jump it off with my Tahoe and just see if it fires off. If it'll fire off, maybe idle for a second, then I'll really start digging into it. But we gotta start there first. So let me get this off and get the Tahoe over here. There we go. All right, that's fine. Oh, that's way too much. Don't kill me. Here we go. Yeah, we're gonna have to try something else. Alright, this is the Tahoe's battery. Cross your fingers that the Tahoe's battery doesn't die. And cross your fingers that the Corvette starts. I am scared to shoot any more gas down it, even though that gas is probably gone. I just want to see if it turns over. If it does, I'll squirt some more fuel in it. Let's try it. Go. All right, that's all it was. We just got to get some fuel in there. Please don't catch my car on fire. All right, little girl. I'm running out of gas. I need you to start. Please? it's trying. This MAF sensor may be messing with it, so let me squirt some fuel and then I'll throw that MAF sensor back on, and that might do it. I'm probably flooding it, but that's all right. Bark off, girl. Bark off, that's all I ask. All right, this ain't working. But she's trying. She's trying to bark off. So, I'm gonna get, I know I shouldn't. I really want to hear it fire off though. I'm gonna get some starting fluid because this gas seems like it's just running right back out. And I need something to actually stick up here in the intake. And where we're on a hill, it's just flying right back out. So I'm gonna go get some starting fluid. I'm gonna come back and we're gonna try that. We're back. And so is that stupid ice cream truck. All right, I didn't say stupid. Whoa. Whoa. See if I does well. I don't want that to blow up. All right. Come on, girlie. This is the one. Woo! She fires. You hear that? So now that we got it running, let's make our list. First of all, I haven't even told y'all anything about the car. Besides the fact that it sat non-running for 5 years. The reason I say that is because last time it was tagged was 2017, and judging by the story that I got told, it came from California. They moved out here to Missouri. It sat in a guy's driveway in Kansas City probably for 5 years, outside unfortunately. That is a, well, let me show you. This is what happened to the fuel sending unit. It's, you know, leaving the chat. It's not gone yet, but it's getting there. So here's my list. First things first. Well, I have parts now. It is a little wet. It's not raining per se. It's been raining. You can see this terrible car cover I got and how good of a job it's been doing. I have a fuel pump. I have brake stuff, but I have a fuel pump. So I'm gonna throw the fuel pump in first because I really, 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 more than anything else, want to hear this thing start, run, and idle all by itself before I worry about tires, brakes, anything like that. I just want to hear it start, run, idle. Probably put the transmission first, reverse, you know, check a couple gears out. That's what I want to do. So I'm gonna get to work. I'm gonna pull this car cover off. I've got me a shop vac here. I'm gonna vacuum out the tank where the old fuel pump basically disintegrated in there. So I'm gonna vacuum all that stuff out. The old fuel pump's already out, so I should just have to throw the new fuel pump in and we're good to go, theoretically. This should come in handy. Don't tell my wife. Wait, I'm not getting water down here, but it should be there. Awesome. Yeah. Get that wiped down. Okay. Doesn't look like it got too wet in here. That's good. Ugh. I'm gonna show you guys. This thing is just disgusting. Look at that. It is just all kinds of just crud and gunk. So that's why I've got the shop vac. Gonna get all that gunk out of there before I put fuel back in it. Should probably do something about these fuel lines. eventually. But like I said, for now, I just want to hear it run. That's my only goal. So let's get this vacuum in here. So I think you guys, yeah, you can see it. That plastic down there is the actual bottom of the tank. This, I'm assuming, this may have sat for longer than 5 years. Y'all let me know down in the comments. But I'm gonna be here a while. This stuff is pretty thick, and I think it's just all the old gas is congealed and just stuck to the bottom. I don't know if they drove it once it came from California. It doesn't seem like they did from the condition of this tank. So I'm gonna be here a while. I'm not gonna make y'all watch all that. I'll cut back in whenever I got this clean. Okay, so I've gotten that satisfactorily clean. It's still not perfect, I'm gonna say that much, but keep in mind, if there's anything left that's kind of loose that I can't dig out, the fresh fuel will kind of help break that up. And I can come back later and vacuum it out. And on top of that, I have a new sock, all that good stuff is all new going in, so it won't mess up the fuel pump, and I have a new fuel filter going as well, so not worried about that. Anyway, I have this cute little milk jug that is full of injectors and things that came with the car, and I think that the bolts for this fuel pump are in the bottom, so I'm gonna dig through it real quick and see if we can't find what we need. It is kind of concerning to see these injectors. Look at that. That's a big opening. These should be the injectors in here. I think they're Bosch. I believe these things had Bosch fuel injectors. It does have a Bosch MAF sensor. I don't think these things are Bosch, but anyway, it did start. It did fire off. So I'm assuming our injectors work. I hope. Alright. Don't know what those go to. These kind of look like the bolts from, the research that I've done and all that. Hold on. Yes, that threads in. Okay. So we do have the hardware. That's great news. Thought I was gonna have to go buy new bolts, which I probably should. But again, I'm just trying to get to Tulsa. That's about it. I'm definitely gonna have to come back and do some other things to the car before I sell it, before I hand it off to somebody else. But it's just me. I don't need that kind of fancy stuff. This Butte, now if you've ever looked into a fuel pump for a Corvette, you'll know that even Rock Auto, in my opinion, the king of cheap, was gonna charge you $130 for this unit without the fuel pump. The fuel pump is separately. Fuel pump's like 15 bucks, so not terrible at all. But it's gonna charge you like 130 bucks, which is probably worth it. Found this Butte just like you see it on eBay for $55. Now I did have to wait a week for it to get here, but that comes with the territory, I guess. So let's gotta rip this thing off this float here without messing up the float. And it does actually come with a gasket, so that is lovely. Okay, let's throw this thing in. If you're a Corvette purist and you're screaming at your screen right now and furiously typing away in the comments, let me know. It would brighten my day. I know the Corvette community is kind of boomery, especially the C4s. Can I get this in here, please, without 3 hands? Hello? Did he put 2? Yeah, he did. Okay, how does this happen? Does this need to stay? I'm gonna try this. You know what, we're just gonna go for it. Gonna go this way. I should have let this thing down. That was wrong. I was wrong. I take it back, Corvette purists. I should have listened to you. You were right. I'm gonna go get me some white Nikes and jean shorts. New Balances, not Nikes, New Balances. My bad. Man, the Corvette purists are upset. Yeah, Coco's rolling in his grave. Not yet. He will be. Alright, so we got that basically set in. Where's the plug? That's right here. Cool. Make sure I didn't lose that. Run that under hoses so I can easily hook them up afterward. Go ahead and plug this bad boy in. And you know what, actually? I have a hot battery. And this is an eBay pump. So before... Hello? Plug work? Thank you. Before I actually... dial it all in, I'm gonna just hit the key real quick and see if I hear the fuel pump run. Okay, so I had to actually sit the phone down next to the fuel pump and record it to hear it because it's super quiet from the car, but it does whine, so we're good. I really talk with my hands today for some reason. I don't know why. Should I become a ventriloquist? Let me know. Or a sign language interpreter. That's probably not the proper title for either of those jobs. Let me get back to car stuff. And I just realized that you have to put this on before. Maybe not. Hold on. Again, I'm probably just making car guys upset at this point. No, I'll just take it out. Hold on. Alright, got that back in. And while I'm sitting here putting this together, I was thinking, the last time this was tagged was 2017, which was 7 years ago, I think. Let me think. No, 2017 was 9 years ago, right? I don't know where the license plate is. Anyway, let's say 2017. That's the last time it was registered, so I took a couple years off of that. But judging by the state of this gas tank, I really have a hard time believing that this car was running 5 years ago. And you Corvette experts, you let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. I know, I've heard that these cars really just don't sit well. I'm gonna have to bolt this down on time before I do these hoses. I have heard from other Corvette guys that these cars just don't sit well, which is understandable. It's a sports car. It's from the late 80s, 90s, whatever. Doesn't bother me. But that's pretty bad. That gas was completely congealed. I don't know, guys. I really think it's been sitting longer. But you let me know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's only been 5 years. But the last service records that I have were from 2017. So it made it to somehow, and then it drove apparently out of a shop, multiple shops, in 2013, because it had tires and all this stuff. So I think some old guy had it. Maybe he fell in bad health. They moved to Kansas City, maybe to be closer to family or for whatever reason, and he just never got back into it, never got interested again. Maybe he just wasn't able to work on it, had an illness or something of that sort, and he just never was able to work on it again. And there it sat, and they registered it when they came to Kansas City, but never drove. And then of course over time the fuel congealed and the battery died, and finally the wife said, all right, we got to get rid of this thing, hun. So that's my take. If I had to guess, that's the story that I'm going to stick with, I'll say. And maybe I'm wrong, but like I said, let me know. Do you think I'm wrong? I would love to hear. If you do think I'm wrong, I would love to hear why. I'm open, genuinely always open to learning, and I love cars, I love history, and so I love the history on cars and where they came from and what they've done and where they've been and all that good stuff. So let me know. So I got some liquid gold, got the dual funnel setup running here, you already know. Don't set that on there. Okay. Very, very full gas can. I do not believe that this thing works, but I'm going to attempt to use it probably to. It works. Okay. Only when very full, apparently. Put some gold in here. Alright, that's probably 3.5, 4 gallons. So I'm gonna, what am I doing? We're gonna see if she'll start. My biggest fear at the moment is that, oh, here comes the sun, look at that. My biggest fear at the moment is that I will have congealed fuel in the fuel lines, the fuel filter. Big finger cross that I don't. I really, 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 really don't want to do that job. But one way to find out. All right, I'm gonna leave y'all back here. That way I can see everything coming out of the tailpipes and that stuff if it does start up. So I'm assuming she's gonna be a little smoky. Probably won't run it for long, but just start for me, baby. Okay, take two. Got me a little squirty bottle of gasoline. Gonna try to get it fired on that end and see if that helps pull the fuel up. Okay, so here's where I'm at. This is the fuse panel. That's where the fuel pump relay is supposed to be. It looks like it says FR. If I can get to focus. It looks like it says FR, which confused me for a while, but I think somebody got ambitious with their paint. This is the fuel pump relay. And this is how I'm gonna get fuel to the engine. This is where we're at. Maybe that did something. Hopefully. I do have an idea of what to do. This doesn't work. Okay, so I had to call in a little help, but I think I got it. super excited. This is the first time this thing has ran in who knows how long. Let me zoom this out. Honestly, not even smoking that bad. I can't hear a miss. That needs to be changed soon. But she's running. Nothing's on fire yet. Oh. Okay, let's see if any of this stuff works. Coolant. Oh, there we go. We're climbing up. Volts. That's great. Alternator is definitely charging. Let's leave that on. What we got on? Oil. Oil temp is low. Oil pressure, 54 psi. Little stumble. Exhaust leaks absolutely everywhere. What's our trip odometer set to? She's waking up. Everything's kind of slow. What's our range? Oh, are you gonna do it? 0. We have 0 range. That's great. Uh-oh. We're at 220. Come on. Come on. Nope. All right. Well, we need coolant because the coolant just kept climbing. But it runs. After again, I don't know if it was 7 years or 13 years. Doesn't matter. It runs, and I am extremely happy. This is a massive, massive, massive leap towards driving to Tulsa, and I am so excited. I'm gonna go get some coolant to throw in it. I hope that system's not clogged up. Shouldn't be too pressurized. Hopefully I don't get sprayed in the face. Gonna go get some coolant. I do need to put some more gas in it, so maybe I risk a trip down to the gas station. It's not super far. Yeah, I am super excited. Let's keep working on it. All right, so I just got the oil changed, put a little bit of coolant in there, but it keeps eating it. So I really want to watch this, but I just changed the oil. She fired right back up, so I guess the alternator's working. I don't know why the camera's blurry. I guess the alternator is working, which is great. Idling fine. That oil was super, super dark. It needed that. So, okay, y'all can't see that, but it's pretty low. So I'm gonna add some to it. All right, well, I put some in it and it started, I saw bubbles and it started spilling over. So the cooling system is definitely working. I don't remember exactly what it was a while ago, but it's climbing up now. Oh. Okay. That was weird. It didn't come back on. It's not stumbling under load as much when I rev it. So that's a really good sign. Alright, we're gonna see. How far is she gonna climb? I don't want it running any hotter than 220. 220 should be more like max, more than enough. Oh, come on. That doesn't look like I'm gonna get my way. Come on, thermostat. Yeah, I've got low coolant again, so got to figure this out. So I'm eating coolant somewhere. I hear it. I don't know. All right, please don't blast me in the face. Because that thing did come out and bubble open. Okay, now it has gone back down in there, so let me put some more coolant in it. Maybe it's just really low. Because every time I put coolant in it, it just goes right back down. Man. Or maybe there's a bad leak. But I don't see one. Could also be the fans. I actually haven't checked to see if the fans are kicking on. That would be a really good thing to check. But this thing is also just eating coolant. All right, it's at the top. Y'all can see it, and it's gone. It goes right back down. Okay, so I just used the rest of my coolant, and now she's holding a lot steadier, so I'm gonna get her some gas, because she needs some gas. You know? Alright, so we're gonna do a take 2 on this test drive, because it was way too dark to film last night, even though I tried and I got excited and I went around the block. I'm sorry. Okay, it happens. Get over yourself. So I did have some low clutch fluid just then. I don't know if it's just because now the Corvette's sitting like this instead of this. I don't know. I don't know anything. I'm just trying stuff out. I will have to clean the tank a little better, for sure, because I'm still getting, like, if I really want to take off at first, I'm still getting some hiccups as far as power delivery goes, but, like, I hope I don't knock the phone over when I do this. I'm going to take off from a dead start. I knocked the phone over. But for 13-year-old dry rotted tires, a somewhat dirty fuel system, I mean, she works pretty good. This thing bounces, which is fine because I'll probably have it off half the time. The brakes are coming back around. My blinkers are slow, but coming back around. It's actually doing better than last night, if I'm being honest. That's not bad. I don't know how well y'all can hear the engine, but it sounds pretty good. There it goes. Okay, so I got a little bump there. So y'all can see what I'm saying. It's kind of cutting out a little bit. I'm pretty sure that's just gunk in the fuel system, so. But other than that, and a slight cooling issue, we're doing pretty good. So we definitely have a coolant leak. That's where I just pulled out and took off from. So we've got a pretty decent cooling issue going on here, which is just what I want to hear when I have 8 days to drive this thing to Tulsa. Well, we're back and I got updates. So I've got a new radiator on order because this thing is probably busted. Maybe not beyond repair, but I'm also trying to sell this down the road. If it was just me, I'd probably throw some JB Weld on it and forget about it for a couple months. But I do want to sell this, so I want to replace the radiator. I might as well go ahead and get that one started pulling out. And I told you about the clutch fluid. Let me show you what I'm talking about. If I can do this one-handed. This thing is pretty tight. Hold on. All right. That is like used oil. Not great, because if you didn't know, clutch fluid should be clear. So that's very, very, very dirty. Here's the issue. So I looked on the service records. I don't know if I said anything, but this transmission is a reman that got put in 2013 by some shop in California. Oh, I wish I could talk to some mechanics right now. I'll just have to show you. Alright, so see that? That's the slave cylinder. Now there should be a bleeder screw on the bottom of that I can attach to, because I have a vacuum bleeder that I borrowed to vacuum bleed the system. You don't see a bleeder, do you? It's on top. They drilled into the floor a little bit and poked the bleeder nozzle through the bottom of the floor on the side of the transmission tunnel to make it fit. So the options are take that off, which I don't think it'll be that bad, even as frustrating as it is. I really don't want to crack that system open and introduce a bunch of air. I just want to change the fluid out. I think the easiest way to do that is going, because it's held on by 2 bolts to the bell housing of the transmission. The easiest way to do that is going to be to crack those 2 bolts off, pull it out and down, and the system should still be sealed because it's just a push rod pushing the clutch fork. I should be able to pull it out and down and get to the bleeder and hook my vacuum system up to it and be able to bleed it and then bolt it back together. That should be the easiest way to do that. I guess it's not as bad, it's just kind of hard. Obviously this car sits very low, so it's kind of hard to get under there. And then there's taking the radiator out, which you have a bolt there, you have a bolt there, there, a bunch of them under there. After you take this whole thing off, about 1,000,000,001 screws all said and done. So it's kind of the lesser of 2 evils. But I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and pull it around to the concrete pad. That way I have somewhere nice to lay, somewhere actually level, because you can't really tell on camera as well, but this driveway kind of sits at a slant like that. I'll pull it around back, work on the clutch, then I'll get to the radiator and leave that out until, of course, I get the new radiator that I can shove in there, and we'll all have a whole lot of fun. All right, let's see if we can cheat on this clutch bleed. All right, so I got those screws off and I have this really cool bleeder kit from my buddy here. So basically what's gonna happen, I'm gonna slide my wrench over the bleeder screw to where it's hooked on the threads. I'm gonna put this into the hose onto the bleeder. I'm gonna make sure the bleeder's tight. I'm gonna pump that up to about 10, 15, somewhere in there, about halfway on the pressure. I'm gonna crack the bleeder. It'll suck all the air and the gunky fluid out. Close it and repeat the process while filling the reservoir as needed until the fluid's clean. Let's do it. Never mind. Apparently, this little guy is stopped up And on top of that, it looks like they trimmed the head on it. Come on, guys. Okay, so only a minor setback. I basically just took a small enough drill bit to get in the main bleeder hole and the one that's on the internal side, and just kind of poked them. They did have a bunch of gunk in there, but I kind of just used my hand to get the gunk out with a little tiny drill bit, and then I ran water in the top until I could see it squirting out the bottom. So it should work now. So after running it through 2 or 3 times, I didn't get the clutch fluid quite as clean as I wanted it, but it is cleaner and the clutch does feel a lot better. Not that it was ever bad, but it does feel firmer. So I'm gonna call it a win on that. And I suppose now I've got to deal with this radiator. Change of plans. I want to break up the monotony. So I'm going to take my exhaust off. Looks like there is just a bolt there for the hanger. And then there's some little exhaust clamps there that look like they're clamping the mufflers on. I don't think they're welded, but if they are, I have just the tool to solve that problem. You know, I've seen better, but what happened. These were like rust welded together, and that one started just dangling and falling apart. Apparently, I already had a bunch of holes rusted in it there. That one was pretty weak, so they got cut off. Let's see how it sounds. Okay, it's getting dark, but I think we have time for a startup and a jaunt around the block. Maybe I can keep you guys upright this time. We're still plagued by that fuel issue. Man. Yeah, I gotta clean out the tank tomorrow. I just want to do a little drifty. Is that too much to ask? So, in a continuing effort to not have to deal with the radiator, I went out and got a little scraper, paint scraper. Should have had this the first time I cleaned the tank out, because the shop vac just really was not pulling up that congealed fuel like I thought it would. It was a lot worse than I expected. And then there's fuel in it now. So, you know, I got a vacuum pump. I feel like this will come in handy. Might be able to use this to help drain the radiator as well. So we'll see what happens, but first things first, we're gonna get in the fuel tank and start scraping that junk out. I know y'all didn't need it, but let this be a lesson to you never to get in too much of a hurry and call things good when they're not. Look at that. Put that thing in a week, not even a week ago. Well, I'm sure it's cleanable, but that's pretty rough. I should have just gone and gotten that scraper to start with, but I got my work cut out for me now. Well, that was a lot more than I thought was in there, and a lot messier than I thought it would be, but you can kind of see down in there. It's basically dry enough for me to start scraping it, so that's what we're gonna do, and then I'm gonna take a shower because I'm pretty gross now. Okay, so she's all hooked back up. I don't think I'm gonna put the cover back on for now while I test it, just in case I have to get back in there. I also only put about 2 gallons of gas in there, just enough for it to run around and tell us whether or not it's gonna have fuel starve again, because I really don't want to drain it again, but just in case I do, it won't be as bad. I also, this vent line, if I can get a good angle of it, this vent line right here was way too long, and the last time I had it snaked pretty good to try and get on that fitting. So I just took and like cut it down a little bit. I don't know if that was messing with it or not, but if it is, hopefully that's fixed. And if we still have fuel starve issues, I'm gonna go replace the fuel filter. I was supposed to be getting one in from Rock Auto, but it hasn't really showed up yet. So if I'm still having issues, fuel filter is my next guess. But for now, I'm gonna get all this junk wiped off and we're gonna go take it for a test drive. All right, so me and my good friend Coy have been doing some work this afternoon. Might not need a radiator after all, even though I have one. I'll just load it in the parts bin. But the thermostat decided to blow out and spray me. You know, so we replaced the gasket, replaced the thermostat, put a 160 in it that had a 180, and we topped the radiator off with our coolant. So I think we're ready to go for a gas station run. Well,
I think we can make it back.
Yeah.
Just have to let it set.
Well, we made it to the gas station, but at what cost? Had a bit of a coolant overflow on the way over here. I think the radiator is holding. It's not wet, but something over here is definitely not happy. It might just be a hose, but we're gonna keep investigating and hopefully make it home. That didn't work. It was cheaper than coolant, so. Okay, so we're recording this time in case something else crazy happens. Oh, come on. All right, let's make it home. Get lights. Should be nice.
Oh, baby.
Low coolant immediately.
Hey, went away.
That's a police station. they just yelled at us to pop another road. Alright, first gear. Oh, this car's coming.
Of course there is.
We got time. Alright, we're going about 15 miles an hour. Let's see where we're at in third gear. Whoa! 70 miles an hour, dude.
That was a quick 70.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, I gotta drive this thing.
What was that about not liking American muscle cars that leave you stranded? They reward you when you put coolant in them, apparently.
I'd say we hit the house and see if it
See if we got a water pump.
maintains, and then I might have to take it for a little. Oh, really?
It sounds so bad because all the water bottles. We just got sideways left and right, dude.
That just broke loose in second gear.
A little bit. Oh, this car is stupid. Okay, we're at 195. This Hyundai needs to.
Hey, at least we're close. We'll make it home.
We're very close. We also need to give time for the cops to not find the red Corvette.
True.
That's why I hide it behind my house. I got a massive amount of work done on the Corvette yesterday. In no small part thanks to my friend Coy, which was with me last night. We still got some work to do, but I'm going to tell you while I'm working on this because time is of the essence right now. And I gotta go. So, alright. So here's what's going down. I was told, and this is my fault, but I was told by a bunch of people that I could get this thing with antique plates, and Missouri's stupid. I just want you to know that. If you're a Missouri official, we need to change some things around here. But basically, you have to have a state inspection to get a vehicle on the road. Now, I'm a Tennessee boy originally, and in Tennessee, if you got a bill of sale, it doesn't matter if it's written on gas station toilet paper. You take that thing to the courthouse, they'll give you a title into the store. Now, Missouri's not the same way. You gotta have a state inspection, and you can't. So you gotta get your insurance, and then you can go get an inspection, and then you can go get it registered. And maybe that doesn't sound so bad, but it gets pretty annoying, especially when the inspections book like a week out half the time. It takes forever to get your car on the road. Anyway, so I said, I'm just gonna ignore that, and I'm gonna skip that. I'm gonna get antique plates, right? Being the smart person I am, because I heard that if you got antique plates, you can skip a state inspection, and then of course your tags last forever, essentially, as long as you own the car. So I thought, sure, let's just do that. Well, it wasn't until last night, which today is Tuesday, and we're leaving on Friday, so I have 3 days to have this thing headed to Tulsa. And I decided to wait until last night, once we got everything running and driving a lot better, besides this little hose, which I'll tell you about this in a second. But this is the problem child, basically, that we've been tracing down all day yesterday with the coolant system. Yeah, I decided to wait until last night to actually do my own research, and I found out that yes, this car 1000% will pass to be an antique vehicle, but you have to send stuff. You either have to go to Jefferson City, which is not close for me, in person, or you have to mail the documents in with pictures of your car and 15 other things, and you know, I don't have that kind of time. Apparently it's a whole process. I don't know why I didn't expect that out of this state. But anyway. So, I called several places this morning. Thankfully was able to find one that has an opening. And if you'll remember, I've got a donut on this tire, and all the other tires are just shot. They were all put on in 2013. So I can't use any of these tires to actually travel down the road. It's just unsafe. And now wouldn't pass inspection. But somehow I found a guy. He's 3 hours away, but I found a guy who has some Corvette wheels and tires with about 50 or 60% tread for $400, which is not a crazy price at all. It's actually a pretty decent deal. So I'm gonna go pick those up in a couple hours. And I managed to find a spot by some work of providence tomorrow at like 9:30 in the morning. So I think we're actually gonna make it to Tulsa. Don't know how. I seriously last night was doom and gloom. It's not gonna happen. I'm stupid, which I am. But despite my stupidity, I think we're gonna make it. So now let me get this hose off and I'll show you why it's causing us issues. All right, here's our culprit. So I guess there's some kind of coolant flow into the intake, or at least into the throttle body right there. Anyway, but this hose was coming out of the intake, well, out of the intake manifold, I believe, and going into the throttle body. We thought there was just a clamp up here that was loose because it was kind of spewing, and I think that was part of our problem. So we put a new clamp on it, and then we realized after the parts store closed last night, this thing was leaking from that little crack right there, and it was kind of seeping out the front, and you can see the gunk. Of course, I've already cleaned it up and took a wire brush to it and all that, but I need this hose, which shouldn't be too hard to find. I probably just find the right size and cut it to length or whatever I need to do. This clamp, which is a garbage clamp, it's just this screw that pushes down on the hose. Garbage clamp, especially for this particular use. But it's also, the hose and the clamp are one and the same now. Anyway, I need to get this. I'm gonna run to the parts store real quick. I'll be back, throw this on, and then we'll let the Corvette warm up and scoot it around a little bit to make sure it's good. And then I guess I gotta go get some tires. All right, we got parts. So I'm gonna cut off some of this. Got 2 brand new clamps to throw on this thing as well. And I'll have plenty of pipe left over for something else down the road. Here we go. This looks a little long, but we can always trim it if I need to. Let me put some clamps on here. So, in order to test out my coolant temp, I'm going to drive up here to the O'Reilly's. I think I got some guys excited about the car, so might as well show them, make sure things are operating. Really wish I had a driver's side window by now. It's kind of spicy in here, you know. It's been about 6 hours, 7 hours since that last clip. I have quite literally been cannonballing all day because I found what I think are the best wheels and tires I'm gonna get as far as actually having good tread that's already mounted. And price wise, I paid $400 for these wheels. I think they're gonna update the look of the car. Well, I don't know, I'll just show you. So tell me what you think. Because here's the thing, I've never bought a piece of chrome in my life. But I saw these. Honestly, they're still not my first pick. But like I said, I paid $400 for all 4 of these. The tires are great. like no dry rotting basically. Probably 40% tread on what was probably the back of the car, and like 50% tread on what was the front of the car. You really can't beat that. I mean, the cheapest place in town for me was going to charge me nearly $650 to put tires on the rims I have. And these are, I believe, C5 rims from like a 2001 or 2 Z06. I think they're going to update the look of the car. I think they're going to make it stand out. I think it's going to look a whole lot better than a donut, for one. But anyway, I've also got some brake pads, so I'm going to knock these wheels off, throw the brake pads on, and then I'll throw these new shoes on, and we'll see how she looks. So I just threw the fronts on here and I wanted to update. I don't know if you could tell through the time lapse, it was pretty quick, but I tried to throw on the Rock Auto brakes. I wasn't impressed with them. I know Rock Auto is like a middleman for all the parts and stuff, but those things were just too cheap. I think they were way too thick, because even with the pistons all the way compressed, still couldn't put them on. But let's see if I can get a decent angle of this here. I mean, they're really open here now. You can see these brakes have really come back around. I mean, they're fine. The brake rotors are really fine. And even the brake pads have, let me see if I can get you in here. Even the brake pads have a pretty good amount of life left on them. I don't know how terrible of a camera angle that was, but I'm just gonna run those because they seem to be working. They look like they only have 5,000 or 6,000 miles on them, so we're just gonna keep the old ones and then we'll check out the back. All right, I'll be straight with you. They're not my favorite thing in the world. I'm just not a big chrome guy, but I'm not worried about the tires blowing apart over 10 miles an hour. I can rip some small burnouts and cruise highway speeds and I'm safe. And you know, I live in a college town, so I'm sure the college kids will like the chromies. But yeah, so basically tomorrow is the big day. It's the inspection, it's the registration. Fingers crossed. If tomorrow doesn't go good, then goodbye to Tulsa, I guess you can say. But hopefully, fingers crossed, should pass inspection. If it passes inspection, I don't foresee any problems with registration, so I guess fingers crossed. I'll see you on Friday. Okay guys, we made it to Friday. We are registered, completely legal, and ready to put down some miles. Just gotta throw a backpack in the back, top off some gas, and maybe a couple cold drinks. That's about all we need. Before we go though, I do want to give a huge shout out to my wife. She found me in a state of despair last night when she came home from dinner, because off camera it just didn't want to stay cool at idle. It was trying to overheat, and I was to my wits end with it. And you know, I had work today and I had to get up, and I didn't want to stay up too late and mess that up and not be able to get off in time to go down there. Because fun fact, registration, I got the car registered Wednesday around 1 o'clock, and by the time I went to get on Tulsa's website to register it in the cruise, because then I had everything straight, the registration closed at 12 Wednesday, so I was about an hour late whenever I checked it. But you can still go get registered at the Cruise Expo, so we're gonna book down there for that, get registered in the cruise, and pretty cool. But yeah, huge shout out to my wife. She found me in a state of despair last night, and I was to my wits end, but she helped me push over the finish line. We stayed up till about 1 o'clock last night, and I called out of work today. So suddenly things are looking up. There was a bunch of leaves and debris in between the condenser and radiator, so we cleaned all that junk out and basically flushed and burped the system. Got a bunch of stuff done last night, but shouldn't have cooling issues. I'm probably still going to jump the cooling fan so that way it's always on, because it only wants to turn on at 230 degrees, and that's just a little bit hot for my taste. So I'll probably jump that relay, keep that on constantly, that way I for sure don't have any issues. But I'll stop jabbering. Other than that, we are ready to go. We have some miles to put down. I will see you when we get there. We made it here to the Expo Center. That's definitely not my red Corvette smoking in the background. We're gonna go in here and get registered. Look at this. This is like an actual DeLorean. Dude. So the wife's getting us checked into the hotel. That was super fun, super great event. Can't wait to be in the cruise tomorrow. The car is still wanting to overheat. At this point, I don't know. We put a new radiator cap on it on the way up here because we thought it might not be sealing. Like, I don't know. So my plan tonight is I'm gonna rig up to have both fans running at the same time, because I can't get one of them to turn on for some reason. So I'm just gonna hot wire them basically and have them both running, because we have to cruise between 8 and 10 miles an hour tomorrow. And that's not really enough airflow to keep it cool like we have been doing. And just in case, I picked up some jungle juice. I don't recommend this stuff, but if we pull out of the parade for mechanical issues, we can't get back in, and we don't really count towards the world record. So really want to be able to stick it out. Anyway, I'm gonna put that in tonight, and then we're just gonna go get some dinner and hit the hay. So I'll see y'all in the morning.
Good morning.
All right, well, I got updates. All right, so we checked fluids, fans are rigged up. Time to go to the parade. This is awesome. Over 5,000 people registered for this cruise at this moment. Some really cool cars here. There are classics everywhere. This is so cool. If you got to come to this event, comment it down below. Tell me Tell me what your favorite car was. This is so sick. All right, well, we almost made it into the parade, and then that little trail is us because we overheated it. Put some more coolant in it. I'm kind of out of options at this point, so got the hood popped up. Hopefully that'll offer some extra airflow. We're gonna see if it overheats. If it doesn't, we might be good for the parade. We are doing a lot more sitting in that traffic than we would be going in actually in the parade. But we'll just have to see. If this doesn't work, we might just have to call it a day and start cruising home because kind of out of options. I think we just need a head gasket at this point. There's not much else we can do. Well, we're giving it one more good old-fashioned try. Like I said, we got the hood propped up. I'm just kind of keeping the car turned off until we need to move. So maybe this will work, maybe not. We'll see. Okay, well, we're staged. I don't know how long we're gonna be here before they kick us out. We hit 240. We're somehow not leaking. I don't know how this is happening, but I guess things are happening. I saw a guy in a C4 pop his little thing for more airflow, and that seemed like a really good idea, so I'm gonna do that. This is so cool. If you're a car guy and you don't come out and do this, you are missing out. The community. There's a horse. This is the best part of being a car guy. Right here. Right here. Such cool cars. Well, hopefully we don't die. Dude. Herbie? Wow. Jurassic Park. Dude. Well, they just ran the first lot. So now this lot's gearing up. It's almost showtime, and well, we haven't been kicked out yet, so just gonna keep pretending we should be here. We're moving. We ain't smoking yet. So we had a slipping clutch. We were turning the car off and on the whole time. You saw my little coolant modification. And we may have hit 272, about 275-ish about there, pulling in. So that's not great, but she made it. I mean, she's like, you know, she's not happy and she definitely needs head gaskets and, you know, a clutch, but she made it. Now we only have to drive like 400 miles back home. It's fine. Well, somehow, some way, we took a car that did not run for 10 years a week ago, and we drove it, what's the mile count? 700 to Oklahoma and back. Beat the Guinness World Record for the most amount of cars in a classic car parade ever. I would call that a success, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy this kind of content, let me know in the comments down below. Like, subscribe, it's completely free. It'll never cost you a dime. And stay tuned for the next one. See ya.